Hello, my dear children. Good afternoon. Today I am going to teach you the poem Warming Her Pearls by Carol Ann Duffy. Now, Carol Ann Duffy is a Scottish poet and she was known to be a lesbian. In fact, she was supposed to be a lesbian girl born to the Glasgow working class radicals. Her female partner was also a poet, and both of them brought up a child, a girl child with them. And in this, as the very poem states, this particular poem, let me tell you, Warming Her Pearls, was written in 1987 and it was published in one of a collection of poems, Selling Manhattan. It is the very title of the poem, Warming Her Pearls, shows that this is a sensual poem in which the poetess reveals the thoughts and the feelings, the feminist feelings of a maid servant. That maid servant is very much closely associated with her mistress, and she is being given the task of wearing the pearls of her mistress the whole day long, so that in the evening she will be able to make her mistress wear the same set of pearls attached to her body, or rather attached to her neck. Now, let me tell you, this was the Edwardian or the Victorian practice that if you wear the pearls the whole day long along your neck, it the luster of the pearls tends to be improved by the heat of the body. So, coming to know about this trivia from one of her friends, Carol Ann Duffy was inspired to write a poem on this by calling it Warming Her Pearls. Now, the very first lines of the poem states, Next to my own skin her pearls, my mistress bids me wear them, warm them until evening, when I'll brush her hair. So, next to my own skin, the very first line, gives a sensuous appeal to the thought that the pearls which the maidservant is going to wear next to her body, or rather next to her neck, it is going to give that, or rather, it is going to add that warmth, that beauty, that luster, that shiningness, which will enhance the beauty of the mistress later in the evening. So, next, these very possessive pronouns that she uses, my own, her pearls, and at the same time, the word her pearls tends to denote that there is something which is at present with her, but which does not really tends to belong to her, because it is her pearls. The her pearls is an indication that this is something which she does not possess as her own. My mistress bid me wear them, warm them until evening, when I'll brush hair. Now, the use of the words wear them, warm them. Now, these wear and warm, the words, they give a soft connotation to the feelings that is attached to the body of that maid servant. Wear them and warm them. That is, her task is not only to wear them, being the maid servant of the mistress, but at the same time, it is giving her the pleasure to infuse that less luster, that warmth, that feelings into that set of pearls, and until that evening time when the mistress will be able to wear them for the party. So until I brush her hair meaning to say this brush her hair is also a connotation which tends to suggest that the maid servant is supposed to carry on all the toiletry work of the mistress. And at 6, I placed them round her cool white throat, and said at evening time, when she is going to get her mistress ready, she's going to place those pearls round her neck. And she says, round her cool white throat. The very word cool white throat is denoting the fact that what a difference is there between the class, the two class, the one belonging to the autocratic superior class and the other a maid servant, and the mistress, of course, belonging to the upper class, to the superior class. She usually stays indoors, and therefore her skin is white and pale, whereas the mistress, the lady servant rather, she works outdoor, therefore her skin is supposed to be tanned. And all day I think of her. Now, the very word all day, that means she cannot keep away her thoughts from the mistress, because that longingness, that desire, that little desire, which is there in the heart of the maid servant, which is something which is suppressed and which she cannot, outpour and rather share it with the mistress. But at least the very thought of a mistress in her mind makes her feel attached to her and attached to that sensuous feeling which she longs for in her life. Resting, and then she says, the lady, that in the second stanza, she says, resting in her yellow room. Now, the very fact of the using the word yellow room denotes that she has weighty work to be done. The mistress involves some intelligent mind work that she is doing in the yellow room, and the yellow room can also show that she has many other different rooms, that shows the wealth and the prestige of the mistress, because she may have red room, she may have blue room, where she showing her wealth and prestige, and at the same time she is in a perplexed situation to decide whether she will be wearing silk or taffeta. These are the luxurious fabrics that the lady is supposed to wear in the evening, and which is denied to the maid servant. So it shows the power, the wealth, and the prestige that is attached to the class of society to which the mistress belongs. And she fans herself whilst I work willingly. And so while she's fanning herself, the very word fanning can also denote that sensual feeling, whether the mistress herself, even though she cannot state it publicly, but it feels that as if the mistress herself, Duffy says that a mistress cannot deny that sensual feeling which is there within her while she's fanning her and the fanning herself, and the lady servant is willing to do. Even though there is a class difference between the two of them, but still the maid is willing to work for her in a and not only work for her, but also gets pleasure and feels enthralled in working for her. And my slow heat, and see the next sentence, my slow heat entering each pearl, because the pearl is that necklace she's wearing next to her body. She can feel that sensuality within herself, that how each and every bead of that pearl is being infused with her scent, with her perfume in it. And she feels that even when in the evening the mistress is wearing those set of pearls, and that scent will continue, or that perfume, her own scent and perfume, will continue to linger on in the body of the mistress, rather round her throat. So she says, my slow heat. And there is the suggestion of some animalistic feeling, or the sensual, feminine sensual feeling in these words, that my slow heat is entering each pearl. And slack on my neck her rope. Slack on my neck is indicating that as if the mistress has a power over the maid servant. She can order her to do things which she wants them to be done for her. And her rope, that this is something she is tied down with. She's tied down with the duties of her mistress, but at the same time, even though she's tied down, she does get a pleasure in performing those duties. She's beautiful. Now see the one statement. She's beautiful. There is no denial of the fact that the mistress is beautiful. I dream about her in my attic bed. And this longing that is there in the lower class society, or in that lady servant who is there. The reader, can feel the difference, the class difference, and feel sorry for the maid servant who is lying in her attic bed upstairs and being denied the pleasure of attending any parties or wearing those lovely, luxurious dresses. So, but the picture The picture her dancing with tall men, puzzled by my faint persistence and beneath her French. But she cannot do away with the picture, even though she's fantasizing the picture of a lady, in the evening wearing those pearl necklace and dancing with tall, handsome men, and that sensual feeling. I mean, she can feel it. She can feel the warmth. She can feel the presence. That feminine feeling is there within her, as if she is there with the mistress. And in fact, this is more prominent because she feels that her prominent scent, her persistent scent, the scent of that musk, is there in the pearls, even though the lady is wearing a French perfume besides the pearl, and she feels that that French perfume will not be able to override the perfume of the musk that is there in that set of pearls. And she says her milky stones. The milky stones, is a reference, as if these stones, are more porous, in the sense to reveal the sensuality or the femininity of the individual. And that milky stones, that is milky white pearls besides her body, is giving that feeling of sensuality too. I dust her shoulders with a rabbit's foot, watch the soft blush seep through her skin like an indolent sigh. And next she says, I dust her shoulders. So the question arises, as if those rabbit's foot might be so firm that it can create a feeling of, I mean, it can bring out a blush on the face of the mistress. That is, even she is, disturbed with that sensual thought within her, because that simply brushing of that rabbit's foot is putting that blush upon her face, and it seeps. That is the assonance of the word seep, giving the deep breath to that feeling of desire that is there in her whole body. And that little brush of that rabbit's foot is infusing that spirit of sensuality within her, of that desire within her, like an indolent sigh. And there's simile, like an indolent sigh is like a pleasure. I mean, this is almost a pleasure to her, being brushed like this and creating that feeling of longingness and desire within her own self. In her looking glass, my red lips part as though I want to speak. And now these very words, my red lip part, is showing a feeling, as if a feeling which is, embedded in her mind. And she wants to say something. She wants to reveal her feelings, but that parting of the lips denies her in giving an utterance to her desires, because naturally the class distinction between the mistress and the lady girl, the maid servant, cannot allow her to express her own thoughts and desires. After all, both are females and both have the same desires, but one can partake or the full pleasure of it, while the other person is denied it because she belongs to the lower class. Full moon. Now, see, one that two words is one sentence. Is full moon. Now, full moon has a connotation of sensuality. Full moon, that means that bright full moon, because the whiteness of the moon also symbolizes that love, that longingness for love and desire, and that sensuality and femininity is very much infused in that use of the two words. Full moon, her carriage brings her home. That means it is after midnight. She comes back after attending the party. The mistress is back home, and the carriage, and even though the lady servant is there at home, but she can, I mean, her ears and her mind is all the time, attached to the each step and each note of the mistress who has gone to the party, when she goes and when she comes back, when she opens the door and when she enters her bedroom, and when she takes off her pearls and puts them snap into that box again. See, she says, I see her every movement in my head, every movement, even though she is not there to look at the lady undressing from her gown, the silk or the taffeta gown, whatever she is wearing. But at least in her mind, she can picturize every movement of that lady mistress who is undressing in her bedroom and undressing, taking off her pearls, her slim hand reaching out the case, slipping naked into bed the way she always does. That is, this is a routine phenomena. What the mistress does, that most of the evenings when she goes out for a party, it is the duty of the lady servant to warm her pearls. But later in the midnight, when she comes back, she puts back those pearls back into the case and takes off her dress and slips naked into the bed. That means this description is also at the same time showing that absolutely there is no connection between the two of them. The both of them are poles apart, but you cannot deny the presence of that thought, the presence of that feeling, the presence of the femininity, that sensuality, which is lying embedded in the mind of the maid. So she is not there, she's not physically present in front of her, but at least mentally she can outline, picture out each particular motion of the body of the mistress. So she says, slipping naked into the bed the way she always does, that is a routine phenomena. And I lie here awake, knowing the pearls are cooling even now in the room where my mistress sleeps. And she says, I am lying awake in my attic bed, and I know that now, at this time of the night, I have nothing to do with the pearls which are lying cooling. Because, see, in the daytime when she was wearing the pearls, she was warming them, so, giving life and luster to the pearls. But now at night time, the pearls are lying in that case, cooling. That is, now they don't need any warmth or luster. And just as the mistress is sleeping, so in the same way, you can say, as if the pearls are also sleeping, lying cool in that case. All night, I feel their absence and I burn. So that is all night. This is can also be a reference to that unrequited love that is there in the mind of the lady servant, and which she is not able to fulfill. And why this she talks of this unrequited love? Because naturally she cannot transgress the boundaries of the both class and the distinction between the two of them. So I hope you have been able to understand the poem. Thank you.